everybody, welcome back to the channel. So obviously we're in a bit of a different location today. This video is not gun related, so I apologize in advance to those of you who tuned in for something gun related. It's a little cold outside. We didn't feel like going and shooting today, which is kind of unusual, but you know, I've been kicking around the idea of starting a B channel doing dad stuff around the house, cooking for the kids, some gadget reviews, that sort of stuff. So we're going to use this kind of as a test video to see if you guys like content like this. If so, we'll continue with it and do it in another channel. But it is the week after Thanksgiving. I've got a little bit of turkey left over, and I'm going to share with you kind of a family tradition recipe in my family, how to get rid of some of those turkey leftovers. We're going to make what's called turkey roll-ups, and I'll show you all the ingredients and how we make them, but basically it is leftover turkey that's cubed up, mixed with some cream cheese, some sauteed onions, some seasonings, some mushrooms, and then you wrap that up with a crescent roll, butter it, put some cracker crumbs or breadcrumbs or whatever you got, and then you bake them in the oven. And while those are baking, you make a little bit of cheese sauce to go over them. So let's get to it. I'll show you how to make them, and at the end I'll talk to you about it and see what you think. Alright guys, let's get cooking. Alright guys, so the oil is hot. We're going to start off with, I've got a small onion that I diced up here. We're gonna saute this and just get them caramelized so we can add it to the mixture, and I'll show you when those get done the other steps. So you're just gonna want to cook those until they get kind of clear and a little bit caramelized. You know, you want to flip them fairly often, just so they don't burn. Just give those a little bit of a flip here. So you can see they're starting to get caramelized. Just a few more minutes and those will be ready to add to the mixture because we're going to keep baking in the oven. Alright, those have the color I'm looking for, and I already tested them. The texture's good, so we're going to add it to our mixture. Alright guys, so we're going to add those onions to, this is 4 cups of cubed leftover turkey. So it makes a nice little mixture there. Alright, so this is a super simple mixture. We're not going to add too many spices to it, but a little bit of seasoning, because the turkey's already been seasoned when you cook it. We're going to add a little bit of garlic powder. And then I like a little bit of Italian seasoning in these. Not too much, because it can be pretty strong. Just some freshly grated salt. And then I like to use white pepper and stuff like this. It's a little bit, to me it's a little less harsh of a taste. So we'll just put a little bit in. That's probably about 1/4 teaspoon. You know, I don't measure things exactly. I used to cook in a restaurant, kind of eyeball stuff. And now we're going to add some room temperature cream cheese to this as well and mix the whole mixture up. Let me grab that. Alright, so we've got our room temperature, 2 packages of cream cheese for this amount. But there. So we're going to mix that in, and then I'll show you what we do to finish this. Just want to kind of work this in. Alright, I sped that up for you a little bit, but everything's good and mixed. So I'll show you how we finish putting these together. So I've just got pre-made crescent rolls here. We're keeping this simple. This is just a fast recipe. So we're going to unroll these. So there's actually 8 crescents here. You're going to get 4 roll-ups out of each tube. I got 2 tubes here. Separate those. And you do kind of want to pinch the middles to get together a little bit so stuff doesn't ooze out. And then you need to be able to wrap these around. So I like to, once I got them pinched together, we're going to work it just a little bit and stretch them out. So there's a little more room to wrap around your filling. Don't want to tear it though like I just did. Doesn't have to be perfect by any means. I did grease this cookie sheet just a bit. And it does help to let your crescent rolls warm up a little bit to room temperature. But we're just going to put a good scoop in the middle of each one. Yes, I washed my hands. These are gonna be I've never seen any kids, unless they just hate turkey, say no to these. Or, for that matter, adults, if I'm being honest. Now we're just gonna wrap them up. Just bring them to the center. Doesn't have to be fancy because they're gonna spread out when they cook. Okay, so now we've got them done. What we're going to do, and you can baste these with butter if you want to, but honestly, I'm just doing it kind of quick tonight because we kind of have a short night evening tonight. So just spraying them with some butter flavored cookie spray. And then we're going to flip them over so we can get them coated. And then, like I said earlier, you can use cracker crumbs or breadcrumbs, whatever you got. I didn't have any breadcrumbs, so I took just some saltines, used the rolling pin, and we're just going to toss them in the bag here, get them good and coated. Alright, so we got those nice and coated. We're just going to bake them in the oven according to the Crescent Roll instructions. You know, you bake them at 375, and they only take, 10 to 12 minutes to bake. While we do that, though, we're going to make the sauce to go over them. So let's get over to the cooktop. Alright, so we are going to add just a couple, 3 tablespoons of butter. Let that melt. Let's turn the heat down just a bit. What we're going to do with this, as soon as that butter's melted, we're just going to make kind of a loose, basic white sauce. Or if you want to call it a roux, I guess. To this, we're going to add, rough measure, for every tablespoon of butter, a tablespoon of flour. Let's start with 2, though. Let's get that mixed in. Take it off the heat here. You don't want it too thick since we're going to add cheese to this sauce. Actually, I think that's probably good. And what we're going to do is we're going to add just a little bit more of the white pepper. I like to, just a bit. Some salt to season it. But we want to cook this not too long, but long enough that you cook kind of that flour taste out of the sauce. Because you don't want your sauce to taste like flour, basically. It'll get a little bit of a, not really brown, but kind of a caramel color. And then you kind of know you've cooked that out of it. Okay, I think that's good. Let's readjust the camera here. Now, a little bit at a time, you can use milk. I had some half and half left for some other products. So we're going to add, this is about 2 cups. And we're going to bring this to a little bit of a boil. And I'm not going to make you sit here and watch it while I boil, but I'll come back to it. But you want to get this good and stirred in. Alright, let's make it so it's not quite overpowering here. Let's taste it, see how it's coming out. I added a little bit more salt to it, just flavor to taste. That's getting pretty good. You can see how it started to simmer. It's going to turn the heat down a little bit. And we're actually about ready to add the cheese. And normally I would shred the cheese myself, but this is leftover, so I made it easy. So we got some shredded, this is some Velveeta shreds. Let's take that off the heat, it's getting a little hot. And you don't want to add tons at a time. I'm just going to add a little bit, and we're going to melt it in and see how it comes, because you don't want it to be overpowering. Okay, we're going to add just a little bit more cheese. And that should be good. Get this good and melted in. And then our roll-ups are just about ready to come out of the oven. Let that melt just a little bit more, but let's see. Yeah, that's perfect. Alright guys, we'll see you when we're ready to plate up. Alright guys, there it is. And of course, we have to do the obligatory cross section. Good and steamy. Okay. And the final touch is add a little bit of sauce to it. This is basically, for those of you who cook at home, basically a base for a macaroni and cheese sauce, but it is so good on this. Alright guys, it's time to eat. Take a bite. Just like I remember. Well guys, I hope you liked that video. If you do, please hit that like button, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about it. As always, hope you see you in future videos, and I usually say shoot safe, but hey, today, eat safe. Alright guys.